The human brain, a network of around 86 billion neurons, serves as the central processing hub for information from the external world. As we wake up, our 5 primary senses, sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell, continuously send data to our brain, allowing us to perceive and interact with our surroundings. But there's another sense often overlooked: common sense. While not a sense in the biological sense, common sense is the practical judgment used in everyday life. Interestingly, the presence or absence of common sense may be linked to how the brain processes and integrates sensory information. Before we delve into the realm of common sense, let's take a moment to understand how our incredible brain processes the 5 traditional senses. First up is sight or vision. Photoreceptors in our eyes convert light into electrical signals, which are then processed by the visual cortex in our brain. This allows us to perceive the vibrant colors, depths, motions, and shapes that enable us to interact with the physical world around us. Next, we have hearing, also known as audition. When sound waves hit our ears, they are transformed into vibrations and sent to the brain through the auditory nerve. The auditory cortex then works its magic, allowing us to understand speech, recognize sounds, and navigate our environment effectively. Moving on, we come to touch, or somatosensation. Our skin is home to receptors that detect pressure, temperature, and even pain. These signals journey through our nervous system and reach the somatosensory cortex, giving us the ability to experience tactile sensations and detect potential physical dangers. On to taste or gustation. The taste buds on our tongue are finely tuned to detect the chemicals present in the food we consume. This information is then relayed to the gustatory cortex, enabling us to savor different flavors and identify what is safe for us to eat. Last but not least, we have smell or olfaction. Olfactory receptors in our nose are adept at identifying the various airborne chemicals around us. They then send signals to the olfactory bulb, which is connected with areas of our brain responsible for memory and emotion. The intricate processing of these senses plays a crucial role in our perception of the world and shapes our understanding of our surroundings. Have you ever wondered how your brain processes the various sensory inputs you experience every day? The answer lies in the continuous integration and interpretation of sensory information across multiple brain regions. For instance, when you drink a cup of coffee, your brain relies on sight to identify the cup, touch to hold it, taste, and smell to experience its flavor, and hearing to notice the clinking of the cup. This multisensory integration occurs in regions like the parietal cortex and temporal lobe, where information from various senses is combined to create a unified perception of the world around us. Common sense, in its simplest definition, is all about having good judgment based on everyday experiences. It helps us navigate social situations, avoid obvious dangers, and make practical decisions. Although common sense is often thought of as something we just know instinctively, the truth is that our brains actually go through a complex process to make sense of it all. This process involves a network of cognitive functions, including reasoning, memory, attention, and emotional regulation. It's not just about processing external stimuli either. Common sense requires us to integrate what we sense with our past experiences, cultural norms, and emotional intelligence. Here's the tricky part. While our brains automatically process sensory information to some extent, common sense relies on each person's unique ability to interpret and respond to those sensory inputs in ways that align with practical and social norms. So it's not just about what we sense, but how we make sense of it all. By understanding the intricacies of common sense, we can better appreciate how crucial it is in our everyday lives. It plays a vital role in our decision-making, social interactions, and overall well-being. So, the next time you rely on your common sense, remember that it's not just a simple thing. It's a fascinating process that involves a combination of cognitive abilities and personal experiences. Although we all possess the same sensory processing hardware, common sense remains an elusive trait. The reasons for this disparity are numerous and can be explained by several factors. The first factor is the variability in experience. What may seem like common sense to one person may be completely foreign to another, depending on their upbringing, environment, and prior knowledge. For instance, someone who grew up in a rural area may have common sense about farm work, but lack common sense about urban traffic, and vice versa. Cognitive biases are another contributor to the lack of common sense. The brain is prone to biases that affect judgment, such as confirmation bias or the Dunning-Kruger effect. These biases hinder our ability to make sound decisions even when all the sensory data is correctly processed. Emotions also play a significant role in common sense. Stress, anxiety, or anger can distort how we interpret sensory information, leading to poor judgment. Mastering emotional regulation is often necessary for exercising common sense, a skill not everyone has acquired. The overwhelming amount of sensory input in today's world further complicates common sense. With constant notifications, social media feeds, and busy environments bombarding our senses, it's easy to become distracted and find it challenging to filter out what's important. This constant barrage can result in lapses in common sense. Finally, the executive function of the prefrontal cortex is crucial for employing common sense. However, not everyone has equally developed executive functions. Disruptions in this area, whether due to stress, lack of sleep, or mental health conditions, can significantly reduce one's ability to make practical, sound decisions. In conclusion, common sense remains an elusive trait due to the variability in experience, cognitive biases, emotional interference, overwhelm from sensory input, and disruptions in executive function. Understanding and addressing these factors are essential in cultivating and embracing common sense in our lives. Common sense isn't just about automatic sensory processing. It's about the ability to interpret and act on that information in practical, socially appropriate, and emotionally regulated ways. It goes beyond the integration of the five senses and proprioception. Common sense demands that we filter sensory inputs through a framework of experience, reasoning, and judgment. It's rare because it requires more than just processing information. It requires the thoughtful and contextual application of that information. It's not merely a sense. It's the culmination of how well we use all our senses, combined with knowledge and emotional intelligence, to navigate the complexities of life. Present AI is missing this common sense link to pass Turing test. Comment below your thoughts.